Hello and welcome to another episode of Bitesize Business Basics. This week we have the fabulous Sarah Cooper talking about how to magically increase your visibility. So let me tell you a little bit about Sarah. So Sarah has worked for the last 20 years in film and TV, and alongside that sort of paid work, she's built an online health and wellness business. And when the world went into lockdown in 2020, she had a 1 month old and a toddler and literally couldn't leave the house. Before this point, she'd never managed to make social media work, and she'd poured far too much of herself into Instagram and Facebook and got very little in return. And then she stumbled across LinkedIn and everything changed. So I let Sarah take the helm, and she's an incredible lady, and she can tell you how to be more visible.
Thanks so much, Angela. Hi, ladies. Hi, Iona. Hi, Diana. Hi, Ruth. Thanks for joining us today. And thanks for the intro, Angela. It's lovely to be here. So I am going, I don't know about magically increase your visibility because I think we all know with anything, if you want to get results, you have to put the work in, right? But I am going to give you some top tips on how I have made social media and in particular LinkedIn work for me. I'd love to know from you guys who is using a social media channel for their business currently. If you want to pop that in the chat, I would love to know. And I'd love to know which channel it is. And I would love to know if anyone is using LinkedIn for their social media at the moment. Facebook for Ruth. Got it. And how's that working for you, Ruth? You happy with it? You getting what you want from it? Facebook, LinkedIn, and Insta a little. Angela, yes. How about Diana and Iona? LinkedIn, Facebook, Insta, YouTube. Diana's everywhere. Which one's your favorite, Diana? Which one's working the best, would you say? How about you, Iona? Pop in the chat where you are on socials. No, none. No. Okay. Not a fan. Okay, cool. So I am going to tell you guys a little bit. I am going to be focusing a lot on just new things. So not sure which works best right now. I love Insta. Okay, cool. Yeah, there's definitely a bit of testing and trialing in the beginning and working out what feels good, isn't there? I am going to focus particularly on LinkedIn because it has had such a profound impact on my business. And I think it is such an untapped market for building your brand and building your business. And there is so much potential on there if you get to grips with how to use it really, really powerfully. So I am just going to share a few stats with you guys to do with LinkedIn. And it was when I heard these stats that I was like, oh my goodness. So there's a billion LinkedIn accounts. There are 500 million active accounts on LinkedIn, so about half of them. There are 250 million active monthly users. So again, about 50% of those. But there's only 3 million weekly content creators. So that is less than 1% of the people who are showing up on LinkedIn regularly are creating any sort of content currently. So when I understood that, I just realized what a huge opportunity there was for getting visible if I got to grips with the platform and created a consistent strategy around how I was going to show up on there. Compared to a lot of the other platforms where for me on Instagram and Facebook, I just felt a little bit like I was standing in a very, very crowded room and like shouting into the abyss and getting very little in return. I am now completely obsessed with LinkedIn, like a bit weirdly obsessed. My husband is just like, what is going on? But it hasn't always been that way. So I'm going to take you back to lockdown 2020, as Angela just touched on. What a crazy time of our life that was. Oh my goodness. When we went into lockdown, so I have worked in film and TV for the last 20 years. That is a career that I absolutely adore. I have been lucky enough to film all over the world, from camping on the Greenland ice cap to Navajo reservations in the Grand Canyon to research boats in the Pacific Ocean in Hawaii and so many other places in between. But about 10 years ago, alongside that, I started to build an online health and wellness business. I'm a big fan of multiple income streams. And for 10 years, I built that business. And it was during lockdown, it was when the world went into lockdown. I had, to that point, built my business by getting out and about and meeting people, talking to people, networking in real life things. So I had never found the social media platform that worked for me. I felt like I was pouring so much of myself into it and getting crumbs in return. Don't know if anyone else has moments where they feel like that. And so when we couldn't leave the house, I was like, oh my God, I've got to make social media work for me, because I realized what an essential piece of the business puzzle it is having a social media channel that's really working for you. And it was at that time that I saw an advert for how to generate leads for your business on LinkedIn. And at that time, I had my LinkedIn profile set up as my TV, CV, resume, effectively. And I just thought, what? As if you can generate leads for your business on LinkedIn. But I had time on my hands, and I had the energy to put into it. So I thought, I've got nothing to lose. And I actually worked with a LinkedIn coach at the time, and I did a 5-day Let's Get LinkedIn Visible challenge. And each day we were given a task, a practical task to do to kind of level up our profile and understand how to use it to build your brand and generate leads for your business. And something just clicked for me. I absolutely got it. I started having fun with it. It felt, those taking those actions, I felt quite sick every day, because my big TV producer ego, I don't know if any of you have done any pivots in your life where you pivot from the old you to the new you that you're showing up as. My big TV ego was like, oh my God, you're really putting yourself out there now. And it just felt very uncomfortable. But bit by bit, I was putting these foundations in place, and I was like, oh my God, this platform is amazing. And over a 12-month period of showing up on there consistently, I built the most incredible community. I got over 100 new clients in my health and wellness business. I was winning awards with my company at the time, and I just got it, and I started having fun with it. And so it became a bit of an obsession for me. And at the end of October last year, I decided to step away from my health and wellness business and really focus on helping other women in business to show up on LinkedIn, build their business, build their brand, and really understand how to grow their business on there. So I am a LinkedIn visibility coach for women in business. And today, we don't have a lot of time. There's a lot that I could say, but I'm just going to focus on a couple of areas that if you have a calling to go and check out LinkedIn or to level up on LinkedIn, there's a few things that you guys can go and do to really enhance how you're showing up on there and work towards generating those leads for your business. So the two things I'm going to focus on today, we're going to look at your profile and how best to optimize that, because one of the biggest aha moments for me was understanding that your profile can be set up as your sales page, as an extension of your website. So I'm going to go through a few things on that. And then if we have time, I'm also going to touch on how you really have the ability to take the control back and not rely on the algorithm on there, because on a lot of social media channels we are at the whim of the algorithm, but on LinkedIn, unlike a lot of the other platforms, there's a few things you can do to really take back control. So would I be right in assuming that everyone here is familiar with LinkedIn and the setup of it, and does everyone have a profile on LinkedIn? No. Okay, cool. So what I'm going to do then, I'm going to share my LinkedIn profile with you guys. If you could just give me 1 second. Okay. Can you guys see that? Okay, and what I'm going to focus on is your personal profile. You can have a business page on LinkedIn, but really, LinkedIn gives much more exposure to personal profiles. And also in the world we live now, I saw a stat the other day, which was like personal brands get over 560% more exposure than business brands. So, for example, Stephen Bartlett. I don't know if any of you have heard of Stephen Bartlett. Everyone knows Stephen Bartlett. Who's got any idea what his company is? Richard Branson with Virgin. Richard Branson has a huge brand. So that really creating a personal brand in today's day and age, even alongside what you do with your business, adds huge value and helps you get more reach with how you are showing up online. So using your personal profile on LinkedIn, there's a few things that you can do to maximize how you are visible. And with all of this, there is essential work that you need to be doing based on who your ideal client is. Have all of you done a real deep dive on who your ideal clients are and who you're speaking to? I'm not going to go into that today, but I do have an amazing worksheet which is brilliant for doing a deep dive on getting super clear on that. And the reason you want to be really clear on that is all of your messaging, everything you're talking about when you're showing up in real life and on social media, when you are super clear on who your ideal client is, what their problems are, how you solve those problems, your messaging will all align with how you are speaking to them. So doing that work, when I work with clients, one of the first things we do is a deep dive on who your ideal client is. Then we would look at who is it that you are. Yes, I will be happy to share the worksheet with you guys, no problem. It's a really brilliant exercise to do with a cup of tea over a couple of days and really letting it percolate and getting really deep down on who that ideal client is so you can really sharpen your messaging, which helps in every area of business. So when I work with a client, we would look at who is your ideal client that you are working with? What are their problems? What are their pain points? What is keeping them up at night? How do you solve that? And what is the transformation that you offer with your service? Am I right that you guys are all authors in this community? Is that correct? You are off. Oh, yeah, you can say it or you can write it. And wellness practitioners. Great. So really getting clear on who those clients are before you get on LinkedIn or any social channel so you know what it is you're going to be talking about. Energy healer. Okay, great. I'm going to keep that chat box there so I can see. So the questions that I'd be working through with the client: who's your ideal client? What are their problems? How do you help them? What's the transformation that you offer them? And if you're going to show up on any social media channel and focus on getting more visible, what is your goal? What is worth it for you? Is it building a community? Is it building your business? Is it getting more inbound leads? Is it getting more sales, more money in the bank? What is your goal that is worth your time? Because creating visibility in any space takes a plan and a strategy and a consistent level of action over an extended period of time. You're really building that trust, because what we want is that know, like, and trust from our audience so they know why they're coming to us, what it is we can do for them. And with our profile page on LinkedIn, unlike any of the other social media channels, you really have the ability to make it super clear what it is that you are offering. And everything that we do, everything that I coach around how you'd be getting out and engaging with other people, connecting with other people, connecting with your ideal client, ultimately what we are doing is enticing people back to our profile. So when they see you showing up in the comments or you show up in the connection requests, they're like, who is this Angela? They come back to your page and then everything is laid out super clear, because the easier it is for a client to understand how they can work with us, the easier it is for them to buy from us or work with us. So on LinkedIn, going to give you a whistle stop tour. So you have your banner here. This is prime real estate. When you open a LinkedIn profile, these are generally blank grey spaces. On here, don't need to overcomplicate this, but who are you? Who do you help and how do you help them? Having a really clear call to action, having a beautiful banner So it's very clear very quickly to someone who lands on your page if they want your services, how they can work with you. So at the moment, I have one-to-one and group LinkedIn coaching. And really, my audience are people who are on other social media channels and they are frustrated by the results that they are getting on there. Then with your profile picture, this might sound obvious, but you want to have a clear photograph of you that is face on to the camera. And really, it just needs to be a picture that's going to look to your audience like someone they want to work with. So you don't want it to be blurry or dark or half someone's cut off your face. You just want a lovely, clear picture that gives a really good idea of your energy and the person that they are going to be working with. With your headline, so here, like traditionally, this would have been your job title. But in here, again, give a taster of who you are and what it is you offer and how people can work with you. There is a very simple formula you can start with, but I would encourage you to spice it up and add your own flavour, because really the key is standing out from the crowd. I bet you there will be many other people in the world who do what you do, but no one does it exactly the way that you do it. So I really want to encourage you to stand in your own power and your own energy, and don't be afraid to really project that. So I help people to generate leads for their business on LinkedIn. Awesome is one of my favorite words. You guys are awesome. And I love working with women and helping them to really own that. So when you write this, the very simple formula is I help X to do Y without. And I can put that formula in the chat as well. But then have a little play around, have a bit of fun with it, see what feels good. And with all of this, it doesn't need to be perfect on day one. My profile did not look like this on day one when I started making the changes. It will evolve. The more you're showing up, the stronger your foundations are, the stronger your self-belief is, those little actions that you're taking. It can evolve and it can change. So I would just encourage you to change it and then tweak it as you go. But have some keywords in there. So whatever it is for you, have some keywords in there so it is searchable. Then with your about section, so here, this, as I was saying, unlike any other social media channel, like on your web page in your about section, if you have web pages, if you're at that stage in your business, this is where you really want to be speaking to that ideal client. And what I would say is have in your mind that one person, and this is a really helpful exercise, who is someone you've worked with recently where the synergy was brilliant, it was absolute gold, you know, the conversations you were having, they were loving it, they were getting exactly what they wanted out of it. What did that conversation look like? What are those problems that people come to you for most? And when you write your about section, I want you to have it in the format of your hook. So if you saw what I did there, you have to click read more. So you want to have an enticer, and that can be either speaking to a particular pain point that your client is really in right now and thinking, oh my God, if only I could find the person who could help me with this. Or it can be that future thinking language. So once they have worked with you, this is the place they're going to be. So you can have a play around with that, whether it is that really hitting them where it hurts or really creating that vision of what it can be like when they work with you. So having your hook and then having the meat. So taking them on that journey, you know, I see you, I understand this is how you're feeling, this is how you're feeling, this is how you're feeling. I've been there, or whatever it is that you're, you know, this is where I can help you. And then making it really clear why you are the person that they need to get in their life and you are going to help them change everything. And then a really clear call to action. So how can they work with you? Do you have a Calendly link? Do you have Let's Book a Cuppa? Do you have an email list they can subscribe to? Do you have a challenge you're running or a group program? Make it very clear what the next step is once they're going, yep, that's me. Oh my goodness, I need to chat to Angela, I need to chat to Ruth. How can they get in touch with you? So next up is your featured section. So this is a section on LinkedIn where you can really highlight how people can work with you and make it very clear. Again, all of these steps is just making it easy for someone to reach out or to work with you. So you can change this regularly depending on what's going on in your business, what you're focusing on. Is it a group coaching program? Is it joining the mailing list? Is it a special offer you have? Is it booking a virtual cuppa or a discovery call? On here, you can add links, you can add websites, you can add Canva tiles. So at different times in my business, I have had, two really punchy testimonials, some really strong sound bites from very happy customers, so that people landing on my page can see that social proof that I am as good as I say that I am, and there's other people who are saying that about me. So have a little think about what that would look like for you. And you can really tie all of this in with your branding, with your colors, with your vibes. You want that really flowing all the way through, like you would have on your web page. Something I missed actually. Up here is where you can again add a link. So in here, it might be a link to your web page, a link to your Calendly booking, a link to your mailing list, a link to your freebie. There's something called Linktree. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Linktree. Linktree is a free platform where you can create your own multi-link link. So with my link, and actually mine needs updating. So I've just run the Ibiza Marathon and I was fundraising. That is a link there for people to support me. And then I have a LinkedIn group coaching program. So those are the two things that I'm focusing on at the moment. But you can add whatever you want on there. Okay, just a few more things while we are here. I'm not actually going to be touching on content today because that is a whole other workshop again. At the bottom of your profile, you have the ability to have a ton of testimonials. I would love to know from you guys who is regularly asking for testimonials from clients once they have worked with you. Ruth, sometimes. No. Okay. This is something which I would encourage you, if you're already doing it, amazing. If not, make it part of your regular method of operation when you have worked with someone, reaching out to them, video testimonials. Ruth, she's all over it, love it. Reaching out to them and saying, if you had an amazing experience with me, I would absolutely love it if you could take a moment to leave me some feedback. Now, that could be in text format, it could be on email, it can also be on your recommendation section on your LinkedIn. And again, everything we're doing here is really layering that social proof that we are as good as we say we are, so that our future clients who haven't found us yet, when they land on our page, they can see, oh yeah, they love them, they love them, they love them. These are the results they're getting, people. I need them in my life. So you want to be regularly updating these with getting testimonials in text form or on email. Obviously, check if those clients are happy for you to share. You can share with their name, you can share anonymously if they're not happy for you to share with their name, but they're happy for you to share otherwise. That can be content that you're sharing, really taking people on that story of transformation, where they were when they came to you, what work you did with them, what the outcome was. When people leave recommendations on your profile, again, you can take those nuggets and sound bites. You could create a lovely Canva slide deck of tiles, getting into a bit of detail here, but lots of ways that you can be sharing that with your audience, so you're really building that trust from your audience that you're doing what you say you do. So regularly asking for recommendations, and it's really easy to do that on here. You can just click the plus sign, ask for a recommendation. You can then find someone specific. So after this, I'll probably pop Angela one and say, would you be up for leaving me one about my masterclass? You can also, if someone has sent you a testimonial in a different format, you can copy and paste it, put it into your recommendation request and say, would you be up for clicking OK on this so that it can go on my profile? It's really worth putting the time in to build those banks of recommendations and proof. That is your profile on a whistle-stop tour. I'm just going to touch now on how you can take control back of the algorithm, and then we'll have some questions. So, something that I love about LinkedIn, unlike any of the other platforms, well, there's many things I love, you might have gathered, is that you can curate your audience in a way that you can't on any of the other platforms. So, once you are clear on who your ideal client is, there is a search function where you can be specifically searching for people who fall within your ideal client category. So that might be particular job titles, that people who work in particular areas who would be your ideal client, or you could be something that if you have a business where you can kind of help anyone, or there's not a particular job title you can help, on LinkedIn, a really good way of building your audience is aligning with someone who you would have similar audiences to. And I'll give you an example of that. So Angela and I know we have a business coach, Laura Brunton. So Laura and we have a lot of crossover in our audience, even though we offer different things. I very specifically focus on LinkedIn. She's more of a generalist business coach. So I know within my audience, and it's been proven time and time again, that lots of my clients are in her audience. And it's not like I'm stealing them from her, but I know that I can add value. And I know that if they're in Laura's audience and they love Laura's energy, likelihood is they're going to love mine too. So then you can be growing your audience, connecting with people who you have similar connections with. And the reason you want to do that is a fewfold. Firstly, because if you are regularly adding new people into your audience, it means you have different eyes on your content when you're showing up regularly and putting content out. And if your content is aligned with your ideal client and the problems they have, when you're bringing those new people into your audience, that's more eyes on your content, more likelihood of people seeing you and how you can help them. But also on LinkedIn, LinkedIn shows your content to a percentage of people's secondary connections. So say I put a piece of content out and Angela commented on it, LinkedIn would then show that to a percentage of her secondary connections who I'm not connected to. So it is a way of getting more eyes, even more eyes on my content. Does that make sense? Yes. Okay. And there's a whole comment strategy. What I mean by taking control of the algorithm is, unlike on a lot of other platforms where you may just have a content strategy where you're putting out content regularly and hoping that people find you, you really do have that element of control, because the viewing figures on LinkedIn are not what they once were. During lockdown, you were kind of getting 20,000 views on your content. But now my figures are much more kind of 1 to 2,000 views. But you can really, by reaching out to people in the DMs, by commenting on content, LinkedIn then shows your content to them. So that's how you can really amplify your message and your visibility when you're using the LinkedIn platform. Does that make sense?
Mm.
There is a lot more that I could cover, but I'm aware of the time and I would love to give you guys questions because I have given you a lot of information there. And I would love to know if anyone has any questions at this point.
Thanks so much, Sarah. Wow. I've got a lot of work to do. But one of the questions that I had is the search function, does that work on a free plan?
It does.
Or do you have to be, well,
You
I didn't know that.
There is a limit of 300 searches a month with a free the free what's the word? Program.
Yeah,
With the
yeah.
free option. But yes, you can do plenty of searching that way. And also to maximize that allowance, if you are finding thought leaders in your space, looking at their comments, you're not searching for people, you're actually in the comments, seeing whose energy you like, who's a similar vibe to you, who is within your ideal client category, and you can be adding them that way rather than searching for them. So there are ways around the search limit that you
Mm,
can use.
okay, that's really interesting.
Mm. Anyone else?
Anybody have any questions?
Well, it's not really a question. I just wanted to expand on something really because I'm quite new to social media. I've been using it for about a year. I find it very tough, but that's because of sort of other healer issues around witch wound and persecution and stuff like that, which I don't want to get into too much for this. But I had heard somebody was telling me the other day, and this is what's sort of lighting me up, that it's really changed LinkedIn, that it isn't so businessy anymore, that actually there
Mm.
is an opportunity for posts and for conversations. A new tranche of my business is helping business women sort of remove those invisible barriers, upper money limits,
Mhm.
sabotage, judgment, all that type of thing. So all the stuff that I was using with healers, I'm now just starting to use with business women. So I
Brilliant.
think LinkedIn, because before it would just be like, well, who on LinkedIn wants to hear about persecution wound and witch wound? But actually, when you just change the language somewhat and, open it up to, as I say, a different tranche of people, I could see it really working actually.
Mm. Yeah.
It's just
And
the time of minute.
I would say there's still a lot of people who have that view of LinkedIn of it's a very businessy platform. And, don't get me wrong, there is a very strong corporate presence on there. My husband is a partner in a management consultancy. We have very different energies and businesses. There is a space for him, but there is also very much a space for um alternative businesses, different businesses, and it all comes down to getting clear on who that ideal client is. And if you're going to be working with women in business and helping them with those issues and those restrictions and removing those boundaries, they're absolutely going to be on LinkedIn. And it's just getting clear on who they are, what messaging is going to be really resounding with them, and then that's how you're going to be directing your content and your connections.
There are also quite quite a few healers groups and light workers groups on LinkedIn. So
Mm.
it's not solely corporate because I'm in those groups as well as being on the main body of LinkedIn.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
really interesting, Andrew. I'm going to really check it out actually because Facebook is so hit and miss. I mean, I can direct energy. So, if I need a client, then it happens. But in terms of sort of putting together groups and things like that, it can, as you say, it can just fall completely flat. Just depends. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Food for thought.
It's,
Thank you.
it's a great place to be for sure. Anyone else? Diana, Iona? Awesome. I am
I think
I was
you've given, sorry, Sarah. I think you've given everybody a lot to think about. And
yes.
I think there's lots of percolating going on because I've written like loads of notes. I've got to do this. I've got to do that. I need to change this. This is out of date.
Yeah.
Why didn't I know this? These are things that I should know and I didn't know. I hadn't even thought about using the profile as a sales page.
Yeah. I mean, that was the biggest aha moment for me, and spending your time really optimizing that, because then all the other work you're doing is leading people back to that. So you want to make it super, super clear how they can work with you and why
Yeah,
they'd want
yeah,
to. Um,
yeah.
yeah. And then what I see with a lot of clients is that real like holding yourself back because you're waiting to get the wording perfect or whatever. It is about it's all testing, right? Like it's all testing.
Mm, mm.
Testing, tweaking, getting feedback, making changes, evolving, learning, growing, all that good stuff.
So do you put any of your TV producer CV on your profile? Because I've got old stuff on there from when I was running organizations.
Mhm. It is still on there. Um,
Okay,
but none of my content really touches on that because my
okay,
TV network, I keep that alive with my in-person networking, and like I just still am very active in those circles. But TV people don't really use LinkedIn either, so I don't make it a focus. So
okay,
there's no harm in having it, no harm in having it. But then I just would be focusing because where energy goes, where focus goes, energy flows. So when you're clear on why you're showing up there and what your goals are, then that's what you're going to be focusing on in terms of your content and messaging. And
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Fantastic.
amazing,
That's wonderful.
great. Okay. I was saying to Angela, I do offer strategy power hours, which are £147 for 60 minutes of laser focus on your business. So if you are looking to level up on LinkedIn, then I have put my details in the chat, and Angela will also be sharing those in the notes on the YouTube video.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
amazing.
That's brilliant. Thank you so much for your time today, Sarah. It's
Pleasure.
really been an eye-opener. So for anybody who's listening to the recording, have a look down in the show notes and you can pick up Sarah's LinkedIn profile and Sarah's offer there. Thank you so much, Sarah. We really do appreciate your time today. Thank you.
Brilliant. And if we're not connected, come and connect. And if you've got any questions, I am always in the DMs. So yeah, I'd love to hear from you.
Fabulous. Thank you.